Call Tom and Dan now. 1-844-TOM and Dan. That's 1-844-TOM, the letter N, Dan. Leave him a message, and you just might hear yourself on the show. 1-844-TOM and DAN. Call them now. Or later.
Z159 FM. O-Town's #1 rock station, Z159 FM.
Right.
Your only home for the Hot Tub and Mini Fridge Morning Show and Dump 'em Out Fridays.
Ooh, yeah, a hot tub and mini fridge. Keep me cold and hot.
Fringe time, more Fringe time. Welcome back, everybody. Oh yeah, that worked out good, Tom. Okay, man, your lipstick looks awesome on the camera. We got new cameras, so now I'm like geeking out when I see stuff that I'm like, oh, we would have never caught that before. All right, and let me get Shane on the camera here. There we go. All right, it works. Oh, the penis rock? Yeah.
The Pussy Admiral.
Oh, that's one of our original koozies we did back in. Yeah, that's an OG Tom and Dan Pussy Admiral koozie. Nice. We another Fringe guest. I'm warming up again because we just had lunch. Another Fringe guest we had a couple of years ago liked that a lot. She came and she was doing a show called Pleasure the Pussy. She wrote it in the bathroom. Remember that lady? Wow. And then we sent her we used to have hats. We used to have Pussy Admiral hats. That's kind of was the big thing. Nice. And shirts and we did a whole Pussy Admiral line of clothing.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome.
No, it's different. It's weird.
Nice.
If you need more or less, there's a little amp behind you. Whatever numbers on your headphones, you can kind of dial it in.
I was too slow on my joke. I was trying to construct something. I'm like a 5-star general of buttholes. I'm not sure how that would...
You know what?
Field Marshal.
Field Marshal of buttholes.
You fit in perfectly here.
All right, good.
This is the Butthole Show.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, we are the Butthole guys.
Very focused.
It's funny. Then I would have expected the door to be around the back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there is, but and it's always open.
Yeah.
Nice.
100%, because it's unlockable. I shouldn't even say that. Are you good?
Yes.
You want to start?
I figured it out.
Okay.
And why we look flustered?
Or you want to say it on the air?
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's super honest, and sometimes we like to do our best stuff is when we just do it like that. Okay, let's just go in.
Yeah.
Let's go in fast and hot, and then you can talk about how my watch goes off because I have an anxiety alarm on my watch
Oh,
that
shit.
like will tell me. Yeah, it's fine. Even if that happens, try not to.
We
And
can
even
cut
if
it
it
out.
happens, please don't let it slow you down.
All right.
I'll edit it for you.
All right, I'm gonna try.
I am
Along those-
I am the ally here to make everyone sound great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Along
Yeah.
those same lines, I'm a diabetic, and if you hear a beeping, it's my pump. And
I have.
Okay, all right. Hey,
I have candy
all right.
in my bag. If you need
okay,
it.
no, it's
That's
a little bit
fine.
high right now.
I like our shows are better with diabetic beeps. I feel like. All right, Tom. In 3, 2.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time. We've got some guests from Fringe in.
Yeah, love
And,
it. I love it's Fringe Week. It is happening once again.
Yeah, OrlandoFringe.org.
Yes.
Get your button and support all the artists that we have in.
You
because
have to have
all the
a
money
button.
goes to them.
Yeah, you have to have the button first. Get that, and then that way you know when you're buying your tickets that money goes directly into the artist's pocket.
And on the couch with us, we have Vulva, Vavoom, and Shane here.
Hey!
From their show, Your Camp, My Camp. Mine Camp? I'm sorry.
Mine comp.
Mein
Mein
Kampf.
Kampf.
Your Camp, Mein Kampf. The musical.
Wait, no, hold on. I don't have no idea. Can I ask them to say it instead of you? Because I have no idea what's happening right now.
Do you want it with or without the German accent?
Let's do it with the German accent. Let's do it with the German.
All right. Our show is Your Camp, Mein Kampf, the musical political satire.
Okay. All right. This sounds and it's very in right now. The German, like very in right now. Yeah, it's very
just
trending.
Kanye
Yeah,
West.
very trending right
So
now.
Very
hot right
in and not getting back out anytime soon.
I know, right? I mean, isn't it weird? Never thought that would come back like that.
So, full transparency, Vulva and Shane. When you walked in, we were like, "Oh, we got something wrong," because our Fringe schedule. We got a lot of Fringe guests in,
And we try to run it tight, man. We try to like do our best.
Yeah. And then we're
I took
researching
out the
guests.
trash. We want things smelling good in here.
And then, so then I was like, "Oh, wait, Vulva," and they were like, "We
I
screwed it
looked
up."
at Tom. I'm like,
Because-
I got no vulva.
Hey,
No one told me vulva's like. Now I'm into it. In fact, you are the first vulva I've met, and I'm very pleased to meet you. And I think it's the greatest name ever. But
So-
first vulva ever in here.
And I don't even know. Brian could be lying to us, but Brian, I was like, Brian, Vulva's in here, and then Brian's like, oh, she's supposed to be, or they're supposed to be here tomorrow, and tomorrow at 1, and then I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I thought it was, so, but it's fun because
That's how we do it.
Yeah, we can roll easy, but that's why
don't
we're
care.
flustered.
Yeah, I was very flustered. Did you see me turn red?
And then I was trying to look up your show.
You know, we might still. It might still be the wrong day. We might have to stay here overnight.
That's totally fine.
That's
That's
you
totally
can.
fine.
Yeah.
It's a comfy couch.
It's a deep couch. It's not good for me. I'm too little for that couch.
I am
It's too deep.
so trusting, and I can see that you guys are good people. That I'd let you stay here.
I would too.
And I would be like, they are not going to ruin anything. They're not going to start breaking stuff.
That's why I think that's why I like Fringe is because I do get such good vibes from all of the performers. Like all Fringe performers that at least you and I get to meet. I've never met one that I was like, well, that was not a pleasant experience. You guys are always probably the most open, kind people because some of you have troubled, torturous tales that maybe you've been through to tell that maybe shaped your lives. Is this tale that you guys are telling, is that one of the said tales that I'm mentioning, or is this purely a fun German-inspired trek through politics?
It's not yet a trauma that we've directly experienced.
Might be in it right now. We might be in it right now. Right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's I think our review that just hit mentioned it's like this could be set it's set 2 years in the future or maybe 2 hours. We don't know, right? It's scary how close to real life it's getting. How do you approach satire when the real world is crazy?
Well, how do you start writing it when what you're writing seems to be going on currently? So how do you do? Like, how did you guys start as as writers and artists, what's the starting point?
So we are both history enthusiasts. We are both somewhat Renaissance people in terms of our interests in liberal arts. And a few months ago, when we were conceptualizing, maybe 3, 4, 5 months ago, something like that, we looked at things that were happening in the world, and then we looked at patterns of history, and we said, well, think we know what's coming. We looked at, we read some analyses from people who are experts in these kinds of matters, and we said, yeah, we think this is a pretty solid guess.
Yeah, and it's tracked pretty accurately, scarily. So.
My wife has been watching the end of *Handmaid's Tale*. I don't know if you guys seen that before, but
the ending of it, like of the. What are you talking about?
Well, the whole series is ending, so she's watching the final episode.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like
I checked out. Like I check out of every. I watch every. I watch like Walking Dead. I'll do the first season. I'm like, okay, I know what's happening.
And the one thing, I hope they explain this, but I'm like, how do the commanders become the commanders? Who are the they got it?
Who's the commander?
In a horrible world where everybody's got it bad, the commanders, they got it pretty good.
Yeah, they do. Out of everybody, you would want to be a commander.
But the whole area has got it real bad. Anyways. Sorry,
that's an excellent point, Tom.
How'd you get the name Vulva?
Yeah.
Let's address the elephant.
Let me just tell you something right now. They don't call him the king of the Segway for nothing.
Well, the Segway, that's funny you should mention because the DMV always really gives me a hard time. So I started out short version, very short version. I started out as a legit musical theater, study Shakespeare, all of that.
Really?
And about 18, 19 years ago, I was introduced into the world of underground cabaret. Like alternative culture underground cabaret, which is that's kind of where vaudeville lives now, is the kind of creative world of bizarre skits, and drag queens, fire
zero
spinners,
boundaries,
no boundaries.
Oh, what's happening down there?
I
want to see it.
Yeah, it's like LGBTQ, non-binary, everybody, and represented, and it's just zero. It's like a circle, just moving all out, and it just keeps going out.
Yes,
I like that.
Yeah, and 20 years ago was a time when well-educated people, were not doing burlesque, and pasties were quite shocking. And my earlier incarnation was as Lurid Demure. That was a bit too much vocabulary for most people, and then every other drag and burlesque performer started putting either a DE prefix or a DA prefix or something, or a VON prefix. And I was like, well, I guess prefixes are out now. I need something without a prefix. So that is how I became Vulva Vavoom.
What did you just say? Like,
wow.
The first. Did you go through a list of names?
Yes, I had a long list of names, and when no one understood what Laura Demure meant, I thought, well, let's just call it what it is, right on the label.
No, you go straight with Vulva Vavoom.
Yeah. I do have I do like the names, like the preferably drag names that land somewhere in something mildly genitalia, like our good friend Ginger Minge. Minge is such a great...
crotch adjacent.
Yeah, but Minge, to me, vulva, you guys have those. You guys are like...
They're powerful.
Yeah, they are extremely powerful, and they're not used a lot. Vulva is an underutilized word.
It is.
I'm bringing it back.
Do it.
2025. I'm all vulva.
Honorary. You can be honorary.
I like that.
I don't even know exactly what that is.
Okay. What about menorah? Majora?
Yeah. No, I know kind of,
Labia?
Yeah. Well, is that all the same?
No,
There's
absolutely.
Menorah, majora. Yeah, menorah.
Yeah. You put the candles on the menorah.
Yes.
Everybody knows that.
Well, that is a very specific kink.
Yeah.
And
I think I've got a chart in the car.
Yeah. Go get the car chart. Go get the car chart.
Yeah, I know what it is, but not exactly. Anyway, so Vulva. The underground cabaret.
Yeah. You're obsessed now, aren't you? Because you're not a part of it.
Can you do whatever you want?
It depends upon the venue. So,
I'm sure there are respect and representational rules that have to be implied there.
No, but I'm saying
I know what you mean. As far
crazy.
as concept.
Yeah. Like, how far can you go?
Oh, Oh, you can go pretty far. I have yet to. Well, so I no longer hang out in that world very often.
Yeah,
I no
yeah.
longer produce in that world, except very rarely. I will do guest appearances in that world because it's a network. There are drag families with actual lineage that people trace, like the Daughters of the American Revolution. But it really depends upon the venue. So you have a spectrum of venues. You have the white tablecloth restaurants, and when I would work there, the patrons would understand my jokes and my literary references. And you have the nasty frat bar, beer on the floor, and they would get and enjoy my bawdy humor.
Okay,
They would not get the references, and so I had to find the world of Fringe to find that overlap. But it's very interesting. I'd love to see someone do a study on it.
Oh my God, you just nailed it. Fringe are the smarter drunks.
We're the smarter
Like the
drunks.
like
smart
Paco, like
alcoholics.
Paco, our German friend yesterday.
Paco's
That guy,
very
I mean,
smart.
he came in and you could tell that guy's IQ was off the rocker, but he also went right for our liquor cabinet. I saw you protected a bottle of Pappy. I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you doing
Well,
that.
he saw it. And
He did
then,
see
and
it.
then he was like, "Oh, you're gonna give me the good
Yeah,
stuff," and
yeah.
I was like, "I'm sorry."
And we
And
did.
that's awkward, by the way.
Yeah. But you nailed it. That is how hard. Okay, so once you got there, you had found your tribe.
Yeah, we found our tribe.
Yeah.
I do sometimes.
How did you guys hook up, together as a team to present or to write or creatively? How does that happen?
That's been what, 4 or 5 years now, creatively.
Yeah, I think closer to 6 now.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, tell the
it's-
story. I talk too much.
Yeah, so we knew each other outside of the creative world, and then I started helping them with a Fringe show, actually, in Tampa Fringe, doing some just joke writing, joke punch-up, and started going to see Fringe shows, and just saw that, like, wait, this isn't like theater. It's theater, but there's so much different. It was amazing, and I started getting more and more involved. We co-developed a show in 2021 that was absolutely bizarre. We toured that up to Atlanta, actually to Orlando and Atlanta, and then started developing shows together. Yeah, it's been an interesting experience discovering Fringe, because I didn't have that background of underground cabaret. I don't have a performer name. I'm just Shane. I'm
Right.
named
Hey,
after a
that's-
Western, like the most non-cabaret thing.
I
could
remember
imagine.
that. Yeah, Shane. Yeah.
But
I think did you go with something vulva adjacent?
Listen, I knew he was going to wind up doing some kind of very spicy piece at some point a few years ago. I was like, bruh, you need to pick a stage name so they don't give you issues. And he was just like, no, I stand by what I said.
McGrow.
There we go.
Vulva and the Gooch.
Oh man,
It's like
that's a new Chicago morning team,
Yeah, I'm
right?
going to say, yeah, we're
live from Chicago.
You can do morning radio.
Yeah, it's Vulva and the Gooch.
That's a good
I'm
one.
sorry, Shane.
no, that's I'm writing this down. Don't apologize.
He is the
You know
fleshy fun
You know what
bridge.
sucks about that idea is it's such a good idea that if we rolled out Vulva and the Gooch in Orlando radio, it would crush. You guys would crush so hard. Because it's such an out there, bizarro, crazy name. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
people would tune into it and be like, I love this. This is wild.
I'm going to just jump right in before that nickname sticks,
Yeah.
and we're just going to go with something a little bit more neutral.
Although this is Florida, there'll be a lot of guys who are like, "Oh, I thought it was something different."
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Which can be both educational. Can be educational for folks. you know?
Look, anatomy. A lot of Americans don't know anatomy. It is educational.
True.
It's, Oh, you know what? He is Dr. Perineum for on paper.
That's
I like that.
there we go.
You know, I'm falling into this problem of Americans not knowing anatomy because I'm not teaching my sons anatomy at all. I'm avoiding it because it's awkward for me. So I just tell myself they'll learn it on YouTube.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's,
and then my wife tells me, you have a penis. You need to teach your boys about that. And I'm like, well, no one taught me. I just learned myself in the 90s before the internet.
Yeah.
I had to learn from friends.
No, my dad taught me.
My
My dad taught me. I'm uncircumcised. My dad taught me how to clean it.
Nice, and one has to.
Yeah.
You know, I think social media is really the bathroom stall wall of the modern era.
It is.
Do you have to clean it? Because I feel like in the Middle Ages, no one cleaned it, and it was fine.
Yeah, but I think it was
I mean, people died of infection on a very regular basis.
Yeah, you'd be like 18 years old, you're dying because you never washed your penis.
Listen, we have federal officials who believe in the miasma theory of germ spread. So, I think we're kind of back to the Middle Ages here.
Is that the theory where it comes through your cell phone? I know that one.
Chemtrails.
It's
like, oh, they're spreading it on the planes.
Yeah, Dr. Semmelweis and 5G, for the 5 people who get that joke.
So when you guys do when you do the show, are there multiple costume changes? How's the setup here? What are we?
And is it actual musical?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no, this one is a musical. There's we have a mascot character in it. We don't have costume changes. Some of the other actors in it do. There's
How many people are we talking?
Cast of 4.
And a puppet.
Oh,
And a
right
puppet,
on.
yeah.
I'm sorry, and Timmy.
And Timmy, yeah, you gotta be respectful to him. I have one. Like, Mr. Snarts is back here.
Oh, good.
Yeah, this is Snarts. His catchphase is, well, I can't tell you his catchphrase because we're on radio.
You can allude to it.
But
You
it
can-
involves a vulva. Does it not? It's on brand. It's vulva adjacent.
Yeah, our singing, dancing Elon Musk has several costume changes because the time passes, about 2 weeks pass, and so he is changing his T-shirt and shows up in some other items as well.
Oh, does he have a chainsaw?
Yeah.
That's my favorite version.
Or sticks his finger through his zipper hole. Yeah.
He was cutting government waste.
I get it.
But it's like Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. They just come up and rev a weed eater at you with no blade.
They're just scaring you slightly.
So again, it's in the Pink venue.
Yes, sir.
Get your button, OrlandoFringe.org.
And again, Tom and I say this all the time, but the best thing about Fringe is you get to see the person on the stage that they wrote it, they're performing it, and then at the same time, knowing that the ticket that you bought, that dollar goes directly into their pocket.
Yep.
It's a different exchange of energy in my idea, than going and buying a movie ticket or anything else that's a big, a lot of these productions are held together by, and sometimes just one person. So it's important to go out there and support these guys. And again, that's OrlandoFringe.org.
Vulva, Shane, thank you so much for coming in.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you guys.
And we'll take a quick break, and we have more Fringe guests when we return.
Got it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
It's great, you guys.
Than's for having us.
Anytime, y'all. Where does that go into, or do you just want me to hold it?
Hold it, I think, but just hold it for right now because we may combine Fringe guests for just a longer Fringe guest segment.
Works for me.
Who else do you have coming?
Ariana. Yes, Ariana.
Yeah.
Ariana? So
Ariana?
During Fringe
Ariana?
week.
My wife's an Andrea, and so she gets the Andrea all the time. Yeah. In fact, she was just railing this morning about how there are no Andreas left, and I'm like, oh God, here we go.
Yeah, we have a Brianna.
Okay, Brianna, yeah.
And then I get them confused.
Get this saved real quick. Nice meeting you guys, and thanks again. Best of luck in town. You won't need it though. Good seeing you.
Thank you so much for having us.
I don't like to
This was
touch the
super fun.
keyboard and then touch people's. Yeah.
Okay.
Keeping you clean. You got to perform. Keeping you clean.
Lord, y'all have customized carpet.
We wrote a commercial for a cruise ship carpet company. Yeah, we do a lot of commercial stuff, and that was in 2016. And then there's these good old boys in Georgia will print the carpet, all the carpet for like Carnival and Norwegian, and so they printed up some wild carpet for us. It's weird. Yeah.
I'm gonna take a selfie on your
Oh,
carpet.
please do whatever you want.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Use the air, get a water, freshen up, whatever you got to do.
Have y'all ever heard of Dragon Con?
Yes.
Because we have the cult of the carpet at Dragon Con. It's this very loud, obnoxious pattern.
People have like whole suits made up of vinyl wrap and bars and that pattern.
What they can do now with like vinyl wrap and like raw stuff like that.
Okay.
A lot, I guess easier than it used to be and stuff. Like it. Although the carpet was a big pain in the ass because finding someone that could lay carpet with patterns on it is like some old school thing that not many people know how to do for whatever reason. Like lining up the pattern. The pattern so it looks all together is like.
Hey T.
It's a weird thing.
What do you want to do before Brad? Because we got 15 minutes. Or do you want to? Should we roll?
Yeah, let's. We'll bring you in right now, and then we'll do the interview.
Break the leg. Thanks. Nice to meet you guys. What's your show called?
Your camp, mine camp.
Your camp. Oh shit, we should drop y'all cards. We'll drop some by at some point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can always put them in our lobby, spread them out, and we'll put you right there if that's okay.
You do.
Thanks again for being here.
No, thanks for having me.
We're it's a busy day.
I'm sure you guys are back to back.
Well, these Fringe weeks are weird, and
I know it's a lot of.
it's fun though. It's really fun. We were reading about you, and we were completely unprepared at all for Vulva and Shane because they were supposed to be tomorrow, I think.
Right.
And now, oh man.
Yeah, then they came and said, we're just like, oh, we'll just do it now.
Yeah,
just
we
so
try to
you
be
know, I don't wanna be like, hey,
accommodating.
come back tomorrow.
Literally-
Yeah.
Got to be accommodating, you know.
no,
like,
no.
because you guys are in town we're trying to sell tickets here, man. Come on.
We are, yeah.
All right, Tom, that's all saved. We are good.
And what venue are you in again?
I'm in the orange,
Orange
venue.
venue. That one, that's why I said orange. When she
Yeah,
said
yeah.
what venue, or excuse me, when they said what venue, I said orange, and then you're like,
And do you want me to say Ariana the Rose? Or,
Ariana, yeah. Well,
or
it's
Di Lorenzo?
Ariana and the Rose is good. I mean, my name is Ariana Di Lorenzo,
Yeah.
but my I'm like a musician, so my artist project is
Perfect.
Ariana
Okay.
the Rose.
all right, that confuses old men like Tom.
I
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what? Are you the Rose? What's the
I
Rose?
know.
Where's the
I
Rose?
know.
Sorry.
You're not trust. I've gotten a lot of people ask.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's dumb people. It's dumb people.
No,
Just-
no, a lot of people. I mean,
Hold
it
on.
makes
Let's-
sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
they're all
record
dumb
this.
like
This
me.
is funny.
I know I'm dumb.
Shut up for a second. Here we
I
go.
am. All
Here we
right.
go. 3, 2.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time. I'm talking to Ariana about how dumb I am. Ariana and the Rose is here. She's at Fringe at the Orange venue. Again, orlandofringe.org.
There you go.
And I was
Orange
just-
venue. For just to start off, your voice is amazing.
Thank you.
You can sing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank
like
you, very
you should
much.
be a lot. Well, unless you don't
can
want to
s-
be, you
no,
should be a lot more famous.
I appreciate that. Thanks. I'm working on it.
Like, have you heard her? Like the
Yes.
videos, and all of your videos are like top tier. And then I look on your Instagram, and it's like, well, she's just doing it herself in a Brooklyn apartment or something. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you do that?
Yeah,
you're
it's-
good. You
Oh,
are really, really, really,
thank
really
you.
good.
I
man.
appreciate
I know
that.
why Brian probably set this up because he knew I was gonna like freak out.
Oh, thanks.
I watched all your
Yeah.
videos, and I'm
Oh
like,
my God.
oh, this is an underappreciated. Really, you should be a super famous person.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you probably will be. And then one day we'll
Yeah.
be playing you on the show in the future and be like, Ariana
We
and the
do
Rose
that.
I'll
was
come
here.
back. I'll
we
come
do
back.
no,
Yeah,
they
we
never
do.
come back. Bert Kreischer gone. Jelly Roll gone. We get them in here when they're nothing. We had Jelly Roll in here.
Nate
He's eating all-
Bargatze,
Nate Bargatze gone. Jelly Roll ate all our snacks. He's like running around. His wife's pooping in our bathroom.
And we just watched
Wow.
Rocket.
Yeah, Bunny.
Wow.
Bunny pooped in our bathroom. They'll never call us
Yeah, they
again.
just
If only there was a way to market that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come back to the.
And you know what? I almost don't want to reach out to them because I know they'll go. We don't want to come back.
Oh, but you don't know that. Why?
I don't know.
I feel like I would come back anywhere that's had me on and supported me, especially when no one knows who you are. You know what I mean? Or fewer people know.
People
who you
have
are.
to know who you are, though, to have as many good songs and good videos and stuff like that. So
Thank
let's
you.
talk about that. Like, are you signed? Are you independent? What is? I don't even know what you are, man. Like,
What am I? I am a New Yorker, which is a whole weird breed of things, isn't it? No, I'm an independent artist. I'm a musician.
Cool.
It's a pop project, so I make pop music.
But independent pop is like
Nuts.
not a thing, right?
It's
Or is
just,
it a thing?
No, it's really dumb on my end. It wasn't my best laid plan. But I didn't. It's you don't know, right? Like I don't know how you guys. When I've never had a podcast, so I don't know what it was like. But I'm sure it's like when you start something, you don't know what you're getting yourself into when you do it. If I knew, however many years ago, I don't know. It's kind of nice.
I thought I'd be more famous than Bert Kreischer. And guess
he-
what
you know, he
happened?
does
I'm
say a
not.
lot. You know what he
He's
does say a
famous.
lot?
I don't know. You guys got a lot of awards on the walls. I've
Man,
heard.
It's
Oh,
local
no,
awards. You know,
Local famous is famous, guys.
Local famous is local
yeah.
famous. We're rats.
Yeah, but local famous for me is New York City. So you know what I mean. You're in
But
like a
that's
little
you
bit.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's
Yeah.
we have a one city block of listeners.
Yeah,
I
I have
hey,
like
man.
I have like 12 airboat captains that know who I am.
That's amazing. You need those.
Yeah.
No, well, now it's interesting because the music industry has changed so much. But now, most of the people I know that were signed to majors and stuff have left, are independent. So being an independent artist has actually made it a sustainable career for me because all of the money I
wow.
make comes back to me.
Didn't
Yeah,
think
yeah.
about that.
So when you're signed to a major, it's like a glitzy thing to say, "Oh, I'm on a major label." But when you're on a major label, unless you're the priority, you're not. And even when you are the priority, you're not making any money.
Yes.
Unless you're really in that like top 5% of artists that are the big ones.
And
But-
that's why I thought she's got to be independent because I don't think I could ever think of a representation ever telling their client to go do Fringe.
No,
because it's weird
it's weird.
and it's hard,
It is.
but it's cool
Yeah, it's been an
and
interesting-
rewarding. You
Yeah,
know.
well, the show, the thing I'm doing now is a one woman show, so I've never
Awesome.
done that before. So and I started in theater, and I was acting in theater in New York from when I was a kid. So coming back to theater in the theater world isn't like. I mean, I've been in concert venues and, you know, doing like straight up music stuff for the last 10 years, but adjusting it and coming back to more of a theater world has been great. I love that. But I have never done a Fringe Festival before. This is the first one.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
Very cool.
When you started blowing up on social media, what was that like? Like, did you go into it thinking like I have a chance of blowing up, or was it just a happenstance and it blew up? Like, I was just wondering your plan.
Sure.
Yeah. Also,
my
your
plan.
level of engagement is. It reminds me of ours. Like
Thank you.
they talk to you in your videos where they'll be like,
Thanks.
"Oh, the queen is back," or like, and I like that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, me and the gays they're my best. We're the
Okay.
best.
Yeah. Well, welcome to
we were
Orlando
born
because
for
we
each
got
other.
a lot of gays here. This is gay
Born
land.
for each other.
Yeah, man.
I love the LGBT community has been incredible, and they're incredible on the internet and in person. But I made an album in COVID. Well,
Yeah.
I'm a songwriter, so I write for other artists. I write for film and television. I was writing for me, and then I was in LA a lot, where a lot of that is. And then obviously COVID happened, and I was in my apartment, and I sort of stopped all of that, and I wrote an album. I wrote my first record, and as an independent artist, I have a manager, and she said, this was back in 2021, and she said, well, you have to get on TikTok. I was like, I don't want to get on TikTok. I'm in my 30s. And she was like, girl, you're independent. Like, nobody knows who you are. Like, get the fuck on TikTok.
Yeah,
Can I curse on this podcast?
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I got it.
She was like,
Yeah.
get the fuck on TikTok. And so I went in with a plan in the sense that at the time, I just hit it as it was happening. It's like the only time in my career from like a social media standpoint that I was like right on the wave. And I like put the work in. I mean, I was posting 3 times a day. I was doing the whole thing and seeing what worked and what didn't work. And in the beginning, I was making videos that were all different things. And I started to do these things where I played the piano and just talked because it was like really low production value. Like it's just me and my piano talking.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to do anything. I literally turn my camera on and that's it. I don't have to edit stuff. I mean, you clip the ends and go.
Yeah.
And also, I'm a live musician, and for me, I love the part of a concert where somebody like vamps and tells a story. You know, like someone like Bruce Springsteen, who's like a legend at that,
VH1
right?
storyteller
All of that
style,
stuff
yeah.
where musicians are sitting and the band's playing in the background, or they're playing their guitar and they're telling you the story of the song. Like that's my favorite part of a show. So that was where the idea came from, because then it was like, well, you receive that I'm a musician, but I'm not stuck to singing. And like having to promote like the singing videos, like, I mean, I don't even want to watch that. So I was trying to find alternative things. And then it just worked, and people just liked it. And a video got 100,000, and then the next one got 500,000, and then one got 8 million, and then another one got 15 million, and now it's like I've sort of adjusted the format, and now sometimes most of the time now I just talk. Period. I'm just like a talking head, but I do both.
And
That's
then,
cool though.
Do you start trying to curate like a more engaged audience? I'm always fascinated with like influencers and people that hit it on social media to. Once they start finding something that works, then it's like, okay, then it's like, what do they do with this that works? Did you start trying to like get these people out to the Fringe shows or market things or just keep them around? Like what happens after you got the thing that works?
Yeah, weaponizing it is different, right?
Totally, yeah. I think that, I think that's the big question that a lot of people have. I feel lucky in the sense that I have a trade and I have a thing I'm doing, right? I'm not like on the internet. Being an influencer isn't my job. Being a musician is my job.
Yeah, you get tickets to sell.
So when I'm asking you to come to something, you're either going to be interested in that show or that music, or you're not. But making the show, actually, the one that I'm doing at Fringe, and I just toured it. I did like a regular tour, like a normal tour, a 10-date tour I just finished, and I'll do it again in the fall. Doing the show like this was a way for me to thread that needle, because initially the album I had made in COVID, which I made before all of this stuff on the internet started happening, was music for the club. It was like music for the Pride Festival, music, which is like my home and my bread and butter. And
I'm definitely gonna cue you up for my daughter, the dancer, because this is her vibe, man.
Like,
all day long, your music is her.
Thank you. And so, but there was a disconnect, right? Because it was like, if you see me talking online and then you hear this music, I have to ask you to go kind of a couple steps.
Yes.
And so I to be honest, had been through a big relationship and a big breakup, and I was like, I just don't want to write another album about it. Like, I just don't want to do it. I want to do something else. And so I was watching videos of like
also kind of selfish. I want to do something for me. Like I want to do something different. I want to do something cathartic.
But it's also like more fun to ask people to come to something a little different, you know, like another concert, another like why, right? There's a million amazing pop girls out there with cool voices and cool perspectives, and I just felt like, okay, I want to do something even for myself. I'm gonna have to whatever I'm doing, I'm living inside of for 2 years at least minimum. So. I was watching videos of like the Cher show and Bette Midler and all those girls, and I just sort of was like, oh, I guess there really isn't anybody who's doing that, right? This sort of like broad, this like New York kind of broad. I mean, I guess like a Lady Gaga in a sense, but she's her own thing. She's not any of those people. She's Lady Gaga.
I'm not sure she does that right now.
Well, she
right?
did the jazz standard thing, but she's a pop star, and so I sort of was very inspired by that and decided to write this like narrative concept album record that turned into this show, and the show is the album is the show, and it's this sort of variety hour Cher show-esque one-woman show with pop songs in it, all about.
Are they
like,
electric pop songs?
They're all like electronic synth-based.
Oh,
some actually that's not true. Some of them are.
Man.
There's like a jazz standard in there. It sort of genre bends, and I just wanted to do something a little different. So it's still a concert, but it's a narrative, and there's like an announcer voice, like you're watching, you know, like the Brady Bunch special or something.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah.
So let me ask you this question, because I think about this a lot. If, let's say, big entertainment came to you, because I feel like at this point you've been independent for so long that you get used to it, and then you like.
Oh man, I think I can see it in her eyes. I might know the answer to this one.
And I feel the same way, where there's like, you know, but then
because I'm looking at myself as what I'm doing.
There's parts of being attached to big entertainment that is you're like, oh, I don't have to do all the stuff I've been doing.
We're like 15-year radio veterans, like getting somebody else's money sent to you. Like, you're not paying yourself.
And then so I think about it, I'm like, what if they did come back and they're like, hey, we want you, and
we're
you
signing
don't
you.
You don't have to do all.
It's just a 3-record deal.
You don't have to book
a ass load of money.
You don't have to do all your social media yourself.
We don't have a person.
So do you think about that? Like, could I go to big entertainment if they like, but we're gonna make you what we want you to be, but you all get this money and the luxury.
I think if somebody said to me, I've got you started a fire and I've got gas to throw on it, I would do that.
Yes,
If somebody said, because the truth is
and that's how usually it is now.
Well, no one's coming along to me. First of all, I'm too old for that at this point. I'm not old, but
you need to stop telling people your age either, because like you look at my beard, I say my age all the time.
Oh, I don't.
I wouldn't tell anybody. You're like, I'm in my 30s. I wouldn't say that.
I thought you're 22 years old.
Yeah, I was like, I don't mean that I mean that from the trope aspect of like, there's no way you look like you're in your 30s.
Oh, I appreciate that, but I actually think it's important for any girl or woman who listens or watches me to know that. So I think that the idea, I've thought a lot about this, obviously.
Sure.
I think hiding it. I think saying it is actually more helpful to like any young girl or a girl in her 20s.
To my daughter, it would certainly be better.
Who's gonna be like, oh wow, that's sick. Like she's doing all this stuff, and like if you know when it hits, if it blows up, that'll be a part of the story. So I've thought about that, and I don't know what my management would say, but I don't feel like
you're your best management.
Yeah.
Right?
I just think it's a good like side note for anyone
honest.
who's paying attention. You know what I mean? Anyone who's not paying attention, I'm 23. Thank you.
Accidental side note is fine.
I love that. Yeah,
the truth is out there.
Yeah, but I mean, God, you could Google anything, but God, if somebody came along and was like, we have a bunch of money, I'd be like, fuck yeah, I'll take your money. Are you kidding me? Please.
But nowadays, it does seem like even like big entertainment's like, oh, you know, we're not going to mess with why they became famous. We're just going to profit off it.
At least not on the first record.
We just want to profit off this person's fame.
And labels are messy these days, too. They don't know what to do with anybody either. They're signing a TikTok single, and the deals are bad. I mean, the deals are really bad. So I think in my case, if a big label's coming along, it's because I've done something right and things are going really well, and I'm probably in some sort of position where I could maybe say like, hey, it would be this or that. That would be the only way that someone's coming to me. They're not knocking on my door unless it's going well.
Yeah, no. That's the thing too. When it's going well, you're like, well,
it's a very honest answer.
I don't. Who needs you?
Yeah. I mean,
and then you're begging. You're like, I need you.
Yeah. I'm less interested in a record label coming along along and more interested in like a special.
Yeah,
you know, that
yeah.
to me is a more especially with that's sort of what, again, why I did something like this. Ticket sales nobody can take from you. You can fill a room with people. I don't have to worry about the music industry giving a shit. I have to worry about human beings giving a shit.
Yeah,
and
100%.
when those people care and they're bought into you, they don't care if you're signed to Capitol or if you are doing it all yourself or, you know, those are people who just want to come and be in a room with you. So from like an economic standpoint, it's I mean, touring is a little nuts, but it's a better long-term plan. And also none of that existed. Like when I first started doing music, like there were no Netflix specials. Nobody did stuff like that. And I sort of sit in an in-between. I'm not a stand-up comic, but I'm not doing like a straight-up music special. So my hope is to build the show and to build the platform and to have somebody come along and love it and want to put it on TV somewhere.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, speaking of the show, it's
Orange Venue.
Orange Venue, Ariana and the Rose. Get your tickets at orlandofringe.org.
Yep.
And
once again, it's one of the only places you can actually go and see entertainment where you know that your dollar is going to the artist, and we love that about it.
I do too.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And sorry about the turd flies flying around your face. Right now. So this guy.
Well, no, we have these little.
We have turd flies.
No, they're Florida
No,
gnats.
they're Florida turd flies.
They're everywhere. It's not just you. It's
Yeah,
not just you guys.
It's Florida.
Yeah,
We're
did
in
you
a
see her?
swamp.
Nothing
You're
is
from
a
New York.
swamp.
I was
You're in
in
a
New
swamp.
Nothing says success like your
Bug
new
indoors last night. I was
your
like, how is this
Brooklyn
happening?
friend is like, oh my God, the
Yeah,
S flies are attacking me.
They're Florida gnats. Everybody knows. All right.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, we will see you tomorrow. All right, I'll save that, and we got to jump on Brett Metzger here.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, you did awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I
Man,
appreciate it.
anytime. That was super fun. I'm just sorry we're so pressed today because
No,
normally we get to like be a little more relaxed and not so spazzed out and
Totally good. You
crazy
guys are doing a
acting.
million things.
Speaking of, you'll be famous one day. You want to sign our bathroom?
Yeah, you should sign our bathroom. All the famous people sign it.
I'm gonna come here. You guys are hyping me up all day.
Well, no, I couldn't believe you were coming in. Like, honestly, I wanted to message Brian and go, like, who? You're sending us, like, Lady Gaga. Like, who? Is this Lady Gaga? Like, who are you sending us?
Everybody said that. I used to have blonde hair, and everybody was like, "You guys you're really in it." Is there a pen?
All right. Let me grab Brad, T. All right, T, you ready, buddy? Yeah. Because I'm almost got this saved, and then we'll have to sort out what everything is later.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm sweating like a pig.
Brad will be for Friday.
All right. Let me add him now. I'm adding him to Zoom. You watch that for me if you don't mind. There's that. Hey,
Hello.
how are you?
How you doing,
I'm
Brad?
good.
Hey.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too. Sorry about that. We have Fringe Festival in town as well, and we are having to.
I just want to make sure I was using the right one. They sent me like 3 different ones, so I was like, maybe I joined the wrong one.
We like to confuse our guests before they.
Look at you with the transitions, by the way.
Yeah, especially with the ones that we really want to talk to. We love to confuse the guests that we want to talk to, and then make them regret coming on our program.
No, I will never regret it, man. You guys are awesome. My friend, I will tell you, there's some mutual friend we have because about 10 days ago they were like, I heard you're going to be on Tom and Dan, and that's the best show. It's my favorite show. I'm like, how do you even know that? They track whatever either you said or they're just, stalking you.
You are also very available for as famous as you are, and you have tweeted me about my daughter and your history books. And, we'll get into all of it. You're just...
Oh, I know.
Yeah, we were super stoked to talk to you. So, all right, Mr. Van, would you like to begin here, buddy?
Yes.
We're going to put this on Friday. All right.
Yes.
Here we go. Let me get my notes. All right. And 3, 2.
Welcome to A Corporate Tom with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and YouTube. We'd ask that you join us as well. Just search for @TomandDanLive.
Our good friends at the Orange County Library System, right there, the downtown library. That's they've been partnering with us for years.
They must
now.
trust us a lot to hand this over to us. I don't know how this happened.
And their Book Fest is happening May 17th. And at the Book Fest is an author that your daughter's read that has an unbelievable life story.
You may know him from Conspiracies Decoded. You may have read his books to your daughter 1,000 million times. Maybe you know I Am Barack Obama from front to back.
Brad Meltzer's on Zoom with us. How you doing, Brad?
Good to see you guys.
Hey, man. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate the time.
I appreciate being here. I said before I got on the air, my friends are huge fans of yours, and I've done as much as I could in my life to impress my friends, and none of them were impressed until now. Today, I won at least 2 of them over.
Yeah, we knew that we cast a pretty long shadow. I heard in the pod. Nobody has a podcast these days, Brad. I don't know if you know.
I mean, I said no one. It's such a. I was like, what is this podcast thing you guys have invented?
Well, Brad, I am super shocked that your friends listen to us. Just because we are dum-dums.
We're dum-dums. Yeah. A lot of people don't even know that we can't read. A couple messages right off the dome. You are my daughter's favorite author. Thank you for doing that. Also, my wife wanted me to tell you, go Michigan. All right, go Blue.
I love that. I knew about your daughter from online, but you sold the deal with the wife. That's spectacular.
Yeah, you're in good company here, and the fact that we have you coming to Orlando to be at our book festival is a very, very big deal.
So, Brad, I have to ask you about this because 3 weeks ago I was at the 9/11 Memorial Museum in New York, and it is it's super heavy and super powerful to be there. And I saw something on your Wikipedia that I was like, well, this is crazy. And the flag, the flag that they had at Ground Zero, that is iconic flag, was at the museum. And I read that you are a big part of why that flag is at the museum right now. Can you tell us that story?
It is one of the craziest stories of my life. I did a show called Lost History on the History Channel years ago. And one of the things I went into the History Channel, I said, I want to find lost artifacts that are gone. And I knew that the 9/11 flag that the firefighters raised in that iconic photograph, when you see the firefighters raising the flag at Ground Zero, everyone knows the photo. What no one knew, including myself, was that flag went missing. 24 hours later, the flag was gone and no one knew where it was. And I said, I want to use our TV show and ask people to bring it back. And we did. And I told the story of the flag. I told the story about my friend Michelle Heidenberg, who was a flight attendant on the Pentagon flight. I said, that's why I want this flag back, to honor her. It was a last-minute ad lib that I put into the story, and we aired the episode. And 3 days after the episode aired, a man walks into a fire station in Everett, Washington, in Washington State, and says, "I saw the show Lost History. I know where the flag is. I have it, and here it is." And we spent a year authenticating it with the former head of the FBI's Art Crimes Unit. And I got to unveil that flag in the 9/11 museum. If you notice, when you go and see it, my name's on the plaque that's there when you look at it in the museum. And to be able to unveil that, someone sent me a picture of a Pearl Harbor vet saluting that flag, saying, "Hey, man, you brought this back, and look what it meant to this Pearl Harbor vet." I mean, one of the most humbling moments of my life. You can't make that stuff up. It was crazy.
That is crazy. And it's crazy that person saw, was there an explanation about, did he just take the flag home that day?
No, here's the story. So no one wanted to know. I was like, why does the guy have the flag? What happened? He was a flag collector. And the flag was given to a woman who lost someone in 9/11. So one of her, I guess it was her husband or someone, passed away. Sure. Don't forget, on that night when that flag went up, it's not a famous flag yet. It's just a flag that they raised on a pole. It doesn't become famous until 2 days later when Newsweek puts it on the cover. Then it becomes the most famous flag on the planet at that point. But no one knows that when he gets it. And what happened that was crazy is so she gave it to him, and he didn't really think about it. He was a collector, so he put it in his closet. And the amazing part he said to me I called the History Channel. I said, I want to thank, we offered $10,000 if you brought it back. And I said, I want to thank him. He never took the money. He never took the $10,000, even at the end. He never did it for the money. And he said to me, when I called him to thank him, because no one had felt like it thanked him, he said, you want to know why I brought it back? I said, yeah. He said, because you talked about your friend Michelle Heidenberg, the flight attendant, and that really got to me. And that was the last ad lib that I put on while I was recording the show, just because I couldn't fathom 3,000 people dead in 9/11, but I knew I missed my friend.
Yeah.
And he's like, and that's why I brought it back. And I got to tell Michelle's husband, I said, we found the flag, and we're going to unveil it. And thanks to, I brought it back for your wife. And he said, no, dummy, you didn't bring it back for her. He said, you brought it back for me and all of those who survived. That's the closure. That's the thing. That's who you brought it back for. Michelle would tell you you didn't bring it back for her. And it was just such an emotional moment for me to be able to do that for my dear friend. It was incredible.
It seems like you've always had, well, I don't know this to be true. I'll ask you, like, have you always had a very good and approachable relationship with the people that enjoy your writings or your shows or your children's books or any of that? Because it does seem like we care about you as much as it seems you care about us. And you don't always get that with a writer. You don't always get that with an author. So where did you get the connect? Because I heard a story on another radio show about how at the end of when you're writing a book, a children's book, one of your Ordinary People Change the World books, that you'll sit with your wife and you guys will kind of talk about and go back and forth, and you're kind of, you know, throwing everything at the wall to try and dredge up like emotions. And that is something I feel like a lot of people don't really do anymore, the authentic emotion, you know?
Yeah, no, I love you for it. I mean, you know, I started this, let's just talk about it for a moment, this kids book series. I write thrillers and murder people all day long. That's my primary job, right?
Right.
We do the JFK conspiracy. We show you JFK's head exploding. It's all real history for adults, which is the perfect transition to kids books. But I had kids, right? And I was like, I want to give my kids better heroes to look up to, heroes of kindness and compassion. We did I Am Amelia Earhart, I Am Abraham Lincoln, I Am Rosa Parks. We did all these books. But to me, as you said, they have to be human. And there's not a strategy. It's not like I was like, I'm going to be this to my readers because they're this. It's just what I was taught growing up. My family had nothing. I knew what it was like going to school and having no friends. When my parents moved, when I was, about to start high school, and anyone who's ever moved, when you're about to start high school, when you go into that cafeteria that first day and you have no one to sit with, I know it sounds like a terrible high school movie, but man, if your heart, doesn't open to everyone else for the rest of your life. I tell my kids every year they go to school, they know they hear one thing from me. Anyone sitting alone, you go sit with them.
Yeah.
Why? Not because I'm a nice person, but because I hurt that day.
Yeah.
Right? It hurt me that day to be alone like that and have no one sit with me. And then that first kid that did sit with me, I was like, oh man, I got to pay the universe back. And that's that's all I feel like I'm doing. So like the new kids book is We Are the Beatles, right? That's the newest one that just came out a couple of days ago. But I was, when we do the books, I as you said, I sit with my wife, and I'm going to read you. This is because it's one that got to me. This one actually got to me. I'm glad I have it here. But it was this line. My wife and I throw her every line I have until I can make her cry, and it says life is. We are the Beatles, and it says they were working class teenagers. They didn't go to fancy schools. They just liked making music with their best friends. And it says, this is the line that got me and made her cry. It says, life isn't meant to be lived alone. Here's our secret. Find what you love and find friends who love it just as much. Laugh together, dream together, create together, make each other better. When it gets hard, you'll be able to get by with a little help from your friends. And my wife was like, that's it. That's the core of the Beatles. And when she's crying and I get emotional, I'm like, that's the book. And if I can't make her cry, then I'm like, the book's not done. And so whether it's We Are the Beatles or I'm Amelia Earhart or Make Magic or whatever we're working on, I don't know. I feel like that's all that matters to me is that human side. I don't care about the famous parts. I don't care what's in the Wikipedia entry. Like, show me who you are. Tell me who you are, and I'll show you what kind of person you are.
Yeah, here, let me put up I'm going to put it up. There is a young Dolly Parton right there.
I remember that.
Yeah, and then here is another one. Here is a young Frida Kahlo. Look, man, if your kids don't have these books, you're little guys. These are for little guys. Well, these are amazing books that are, I have a ton of them. Well, I can't speak highly enough of them.
Speaking of fans of your writing, Bill Clinton and George W. Bush were such fans of your writing that is it true that was it W that gave you a letter that he wrote Clinton, like
I haven't heard
presidents write letters,
This is correct. I'm going to tell you the craziest. So George H.W. Bush Sr., I was doing a book about secret messages that presidents can pass to each other over time. And I said to President Bush, President Bush and Clinton had written me letters that they liked my thrillers. They read my thrillers. So I wrote to them.
Hold on. What is that?
Crazy. Trust me. I know. I am not pausing for one. I am just as like when that letter came, I thought when I worked in the government once as an intern for the Senate Judiciary Committee. And in the Senate Judiciary Committee, the only thing I used to do with the Senate Judiciary stationery is I used to write letters to my friends. I used a pen signing machine to sign my name at the senator's name at the bottom. and I would write to all my friends in Miami and tell them they were being deported. Like, that's what I did in college. Like, in college, any friend of mine in college got a deportation letter from the Senate Judiciary Committee. So when I got a letter from the White House and one from President Bush, like, I was like, oh, this is someone playing a joke on me, doing what I used to do with the pen signing machine. And I called up and I said, hey, someone wrote a letter. They're looking for a free book. Because he said, hey, I'd love if you could sign a copy for me. And they said, oh, you got President Bush's letter. And I'm like, oh, this is real? I was like, you're serious? I thought it was a prank. So I became friends with them. They had me come to their offices. I wound up doing research with them. And I said to them, could you send a secret message in the letter that you put in the White House desk when you leave office? They always leave a letter for the next president.
Yeah.
So Reagan left one for Bush, and Bush left one for Clinton. Clinton left one for Bush Jr. And President Bush sent me the letter, the secret letter that he left for Bill Clinton in his desk. And no one had ever seen it. His biographer had never seen it. No, I went on national TV on Good Morning America, and I said, can I show people this? He's like, yeah. And the reason, if you've seen that letter floating around during the elections, it's because I put it out there because Bush sent it to me. And my wife was like, why do you send it to you? His biographer's like, why'd you send it to Meltzer? Like, what? I'm your biographer. Like, what are you doing? But here's the crazier story, is they both blurbed this book I did a history book called The First Conspiracy. It was about the secret plot to kill George Washington. True story. George Washington there was a plot to kill him at the height of the Revolutionary War. When George Washington heard about it, he gathered up those men responsible. He built a gallows, and then he hanged the main person responsible in front of 20,000 people, the largest public execution at that point in North American history. Whoa. George Washington brought the hammer down, was like, do not mess with me. I'm George Washington. I'm going to be on the money one day. That's a direct quote from him, by the way.
Yeah. That's some wooden teeth hanger. Or bone, whatever.
Yeah, well, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
We all seen Game of Thrones. You have to hang the person trying to get you.
You got to hang the guy. So this is a story I couldn't tell until a few years ago. When Bush Sr., he died a few years ago, and what I couldn't tell anyone is that right when he was dying, they asked some of his favorite authors to come read to him on his deathbed, basically. And I got the call. And I'm in Kennebunkport, Maine, and they have me come in, and the Secret Service says to me, listen, you can see, President Bush's in pretty bad shape. You're going to read to him for like 5 minutes. He's going to fall asleep on you because he's sleeping most of the day now. I said, no problem. I'm honored to be here. So 5-10 minutes, you'll leave. You got it. Secret Service leaves. And now it's just myself, my wife, President Bush, and his service dog, Sully. Whoa. And he's got a stack of books on his desk. And in this stack of books, I can see as a copy of The First Conspiracy, the George Washington book. And he gave me a blurb on it. And I said, sir, you want to read this book? It looks like it's been read so many times, like dog-eared. He says, because he can't speak anymore. He just says, or And so I start reading to him. And sure enough, in like 5 minutes, he falls asleep. But I want to finish the chapter. I figure I'll finish this chapter in a couple more pages, and then I'll get out of here. And I brought the chapter where George Washington has the Declaration of Independence read to his troops for the very first time. And he's sleeping, and I get to those words, though, those words we all know. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And as I say the words, President Bush's eyes pop open. Whoa. And he's just locked on me, like he's got an infusion from the Declaration of Independence itself. And I get to the end of the chapter. I'm like, sir, you want to read another chapter? He goes, And I get to the end of that chapter. I say, sir, you want to read another one? And another, sir? And instead of being there for 5 or 10 minutes, I'm there for an hour. And I say goodbye to him. I know I'm never going to see him again. I can see what shape he's in. And to be able to read about the very first president to, at that point, the person who is the oldest living president in the United States is, again, one of those ridiculous. I'm like, when did my life become Forrest Gump? My wife, she's like, what are you doing?
And you got me mind blown. Also a little, you got me a weepy. Man,
Brett, that's an insane story.
Yeah,
I know
great,
you know
right?
it.
And for years I was like, they're like, yeah, don't say anything. And then finally they were like, they were doing a book on President Bush, and they were like, we'd like you to tell the story. So then I was able to tell the story, but I was like carrying that around, and I'm just like, no one would believe this story. This is a crazy story.
This kind of goes back to my question again about how do you find yourself in these. That's a wild situation, man.
And
no, brother, trust me, I feel the same.
That's just
you're
insane.
Reading to George Bush Sr., on his deathbed a book about the first president. I mean, you're right. It is like a unbelievable Forrest Gump
It does
scenario.
sound a little fake almost.
Trust me,
can't-
like my wife is like, if my wife wasn't there and I came home that night and told her that story, she'd be like, no way.
Yeah,
But she was there with me. Like I have a
Right.
picture of us together with Bush that day. Like
He
you
can't
know,
be that good at ping pong and shrimp. It's impossible.
right. Barbecue shrimp.
Yeah.
So
Cajun shrimp.
So, Brad, okay, speaking of crazy stories,
That is wild.
and by the way, that one's not on your Wikipedia. By the way.
Yeah, that is
Someone
like-
should
yeah.
put that on there.
Whoa.
I know we got to put that on
Yeah,
there.
one of our listeners put that on there now. Holy smokes.
But what is on
Yeah,
your...
you know what? If you need a link to it, it's a USA Today story that they published it, so you can link to it. Someone put it on there.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, we will need a footnote. Yeah, that's great.
But let me read off some other ones.
Okay,
that are,
please.
Meltzer...
I don't even know what's on there. I'm excited to see what it is.
Okay, cool.
Meltzer aided in helping save the life of his 11th grade history teacher.
This is crazy.
So how did that happen?
I mean, first of all, I love you for doing this research. So this is a banana story. So my life was changed. My love of history came from a woman named Ellen Sherman, and Mrs. Sherman, whatever, she was my 11th grade history teacher. And I remember, I'll never forget, she wheeled into the room one day. We had a movie, you know, when the TV would come, the teacher would bring it, and you're psyched when there's a movie day, right?
Yeah.
When that TV came rolling into your room,
You
you're
can hear it coming down the hall.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
hear it. and-
You right now, you all hear the AV kids
Yeah.
bring it. And usually it's a substitute, but she was in class and we were seeing a movie, and it was a JFK movie. And it wasn't one of those kooky, crazy ones, but it would ask the JFK stories that should be asked. Like, what is Lee Harvey Oswald doing in Russia at the height of the Cold War as a former Marine? What is Jack Ruby? How does he get into this police station that's supposedly guarded by all, like, questions that are really vital to this day. And it just cracked something open in me, changed my life, made me really fall in love with history. And so I wrote a book based on Decoded on the TV show we did. We did a book that was the top 10 conspiracies of all time. And I decided I'm going to dedicate this book to Mrs. Sherman. So I dedicate the book to her. I hadn't spoken to her in a decade. And I wanted to tell her, hey, listen, we dedicate this book. So I get a phone number from someone who knew her. And I said, I want to call her and tell her. So I email her, or maybe I even email her. And she said, and I say, hey, this new book that's coming out is dedicated to you as my teacher. And she says, can I ask you a question? And we go back and forth a little bit. I go, yeah. And she goes, this is going to sound crazy. She's like, but my kidneys are failing and I'm looking for a match and I can't find one. And I see you have like over 100,000 people that follow you on Facebook. Would you mind posting about my kidneys to see if you can help me find a match? And I'm like, you know what? Why not? Like, you're the teacher, helped change my life. Sure, I'll post about it. So I post about it. And here's the craziest part of this story is we get a woman who says, yes. I say, anyone who volunteers, if you're the match for my teacher, I'll make you a character in my next thriller. And so all these people donate and say, we're going to give a body part to a stranger, which is crazy to begin with, but it gets crazier. And then this one woman is a match. They do it, you have to test. It's not just that you donate, but you got to be a match for the person. So this first woman, the first donor, she is a match. She flies down to Florida to get tested to see if she's a match. They say, you are a match. But she writes to me and I say, what happened? They go, they brought me down for a biopsy. And when they were doing the testing on me, they found cancer on my own, something in her body. Oh, wow. And she's like, Brad, you actually saved my life. I can't be a donor for your teacher, but you just saved my life because you caught my cancer early. I would have never known about it. I'm like, no, I didn't save your life. Like, you saved your life by being a volunteer for a stranger. So now we can't find a
magical
person,
Brad Meltzer.
No, but this is where it gets crazier.
Hold on, you should have saved George Bush's life.
What the hell? You're picking and choosing.
And so now I'm like, well, we still don't have a match. Yes, we saved this other woman. Okay, fine. But we don't have a match for Mrs. Sherman. And I'm going through my spam folder one day, which I never do, but like one of those days you're cleaning out your desk. And I see that there's a letter that says, hey, Brad, I wrote to Mrs. Sherman, but I tried to be a volunteer. It's by this woman, Amy. She's like, so do me a favor, pass my email along. And I'm like, I'm sure she's going to respond to you. She's got a lot of people. But for whatever reason, I'm just like, I don't even know why, but I say, Mrs. Sherman, in case you missed this one, here's this woman, Amy. And it winds up that Amy becomes the actual match. And she comes down. She is the match. She saves Mrs. Sherman's life. Wow. CBS News comes down because they hear about the story. They want to do the story. And the reporter says to me, by the way, did Mrs. Sherman, why did she miss Amy's first email? And I'm like, you know what? I never thought about that. It's been a year. Let me ask her. And I said to Mrs. Sherman, I said, whatever happened to Amy's first email? She goes, I didn't even think about that either. Let me go looking for it. And she goes looking in her computer, and it's in Mrs. Sherman's spam folder. And if I didn't find it that day, it would have just stayed in spam forever. For God knows what reason, it went into her spam, and it would have gone away. But it was the one that I just happened to pick out of all the ones that were sent to me. And I said, here, just check this one out. And again, you can't make this stuff up. I make things up for a living. I couldn't make this story up if I tried.
Has anybody investigated you for being an angel man? Are you an angel? You're an angel man.
I mean, all the evidence is there.
You're Michael Landon. You're Michael Landon.
No, I will tell you this. This is my honest answer, is I have my life. I had an English teacher who changed my life by telling me I can write. She, tried to put me in honors class. She was like, no, you're going to listen to what ignore everything I do on the blackboard, ignore every homework assignment I give. You're going to do the honors work instead. And a decade later, I went back to her classroom. I knocked on the door. She said, can I help you? I said, my name is Brad Meltzer, and I wrote this book, and it's for you. And she starts crying, and I'm like, why are you crying? She goes, I was going to retire this year because I didn't think I was having an impact anymore. I said, are you kidding me? You have 30 students. We have one teacher. You changed my life. And I'm telling you that story for this reason. My wife went to the same high school I did. And she said, you have all these stories with these teachers that are so profound. I had the same teachers. I have none of those stories. Why do you have them? And it took me a while to figure it out. And I realized is these teachers knew my wife didn't need any help. They saw and knew she came from a family where she was going to be fine. She was going to make it to college. But these teachers looked at me struggling, and they knew my family was struggling, and they knew I was I was the first in my family to go to a 4-year college in my immediate family. And those teachers looked at me and knew I needed help. And that's why they picked me out. And I think that I've been the lucky recipient of these things because all I've been trying to do is really pay back the universe with a little bit of that kindness that was shown me. And that's the only reason these things keep happening is because I was shown so much kindness at a time when I needed it. And that's the only explanation I have for it.
Angels don't need help. Okay, I'm going to keep going, Brad, or should I call you Forrest at this point? In May 2024, Meltzer delivered the commencement address of the University of Michigan in front of 70,000 people, including his own graduating son.
That's all. Oh my!
This was the best one. This may be my favorite one.
I didn't know your son was there, and again, this became a book, and you can pick up this book. In fact, I'm going to pick it up because I haven't read it yet. But yeah, can you tell us this?
Yeah. So 70,000 people are in the stadium, and I'm focused on one. My son is graduating that day, and when I told my son I was going to be the graduation speaker at the University of Michigan, his first words he said to me, why'd they pick you? There's so many better people they could pick. He's like, they could pick Tom Brady. He's like, he said to me, I'll never forget, he said to me this word. He said, it's like a 13th seed winning March Madness. That's what he said to me.
Your boy's funny. Is he a writer too? That's funny.
Brad.
No, he's just a kid, man. He's just an insulting college-age kid. But what happened was, so I give this speech, and the speech I give is about magic. That there are some things you can't explain, and that's what magic is. And my job as a writer is I got to make things appear out of thin air. But when you talk to magicians, they'll tell you that there are only 4 types of magic tricks, right? If you put aside illusions and escapes, there's only 4 types of tricks. You make something appear. 2, you make something disappear. 3, you make 2 things switch places. And 4, you take one thing and you turn it into something else, which is the hardest trick of all, transformation. And I went through my speeches all about making magic. And I walked through what you have to make appear in your life, what you have to make disappear in life, which we can talk about. But it's that third trick, those making 2 things switch places. I said, here, let's talk about empathy. Because that's what empathy is, right? It's switching places with someone else and putting yourself in their shoes. And when I first moved to Florida, when I was 13 years old, as I told you, my parents had no money. And we had to live we had to move in with my grandparents because we couldn't afford anywhere else. So it was 6 of us, my mom, my dad, my sister, myself, and 2 grandparents in a 1-bedroom apartment. And it was obviously, 1 bedroom. We were sleeping on the floor and couches everywhere. And everyone was trying to get us evicted in the condominium because they were like, you can't have 6 people in one place. It's too small. Everyone was trying to evict us. And this one woman across the hall, my grandmother's neighbor, saw what was happening. And she said, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to move out, and your family, you're going to take my apartment so your family can have some space. The nicest thing to this day, I think, that anyone's ever done for me in my entire life. And I remember as a kid, her name was Mercy. But as a kid, I always heard it as Mercy. And make no mistake, mercy and empathy is what she showed us. And today, cruelty and venom and harshly judging those we disagree with, it's become sport in our culture. But cruelty and venom aren't proof of strength. They're signs of weakness and petty insecurity. What takes strength is showing people kindness and empathy. And when I finished the speech, all these people around the country were asking me for the text of the speech. They were like, I want to give this as a gift for graduation. I want to give this to my niece, my nephew, my cousin. I need it for myself. Can you give it? And I've been doing this 28 years. No one's ever asked for the text of anything I said, but people were tracking down my sister. Like, they all wanted it. And so eventually we came out with Make Magic.
Yeah.
It just came out, the book of inspiration you didn't know you needed. And it's literally the contents of that speech in a gift form that you can kind of give out for anyone who you think needs a little bit of magic in their lives today. And it's one of my favorite things I've ever written.
Awesome. Yeah, and those are real things that we can control too. That's what's, oh man.
I was just
that's so cool.
laughing a minute. Everybody's like cheering except for your son. Your son's boring.
The thing, let me tell you the great Orlando connection to this book, which I don't get to tell, but I'm going to embarrass him because I'm sure he's listening because I know him. So one of the stories that I tell in the book is the second magic trick is what you have to make disappear. And what you have to make, everyone wants to make your fear disappear. But let me challenge that and tell you this story. When I was growing up in Florida, I used to work at the Aventura Mall in North Miami Beach in Aventura. And there was this woman came up and she started snapping her fingers at me. She's like, you got to serve me. And I'm like, ma'am, I'll be right with you. And she's like, no, you got to serve me now at this Haagen-Dazs. Serve me now. And I said, you know what, ma'am, take your business elsewhere. We're not giving you any ice cream today. And she screams in my face. I'll never forget it. She screamed at me. She said, you're going to be working at this miserable ice cream store for the rest of your miserable life. And I calmly said to her, ma'am, if I am working here for the rest of my miserable life, you're still never getting any ice cream. and I used to always tell that story laughing, saying it didn't bother me, but it did bother me.
Yeah,
it did. And it made me feel small. It made me feel like I was going to struggle like my dad struggled financially all his life. And but what I do also realize is that that woman drove me. She fueled me. So instead of making your fear disappear, you're supposed to harness your fear and use it. Now, here's the Orlando part. As the person who worked at that Haagen-Dazs with me is my dear friend Nick Wickett. And Nick Wickett, I used to wear at that Haagen-Dazs. It was the 80s, so I used to wear a gold chain with a Superman insignia on it.
Yes.
And Nick used to wear a gold chain with a like a dolphin whale tail, like at the back, because he always wanted to train the dolphins and whales at SeaWorld. That was his dream. And if I had very little, Nick had less. If I had two parents, he was a single mom family. Like, he struggled even more than my family did. But that was his dream, to like work with the whales and dolphins at SeaWorld. And I'm like, good luck, buddy. Nice, hope it works out for you. And so I lose track of Nick. We go our separate ways to college. There was no Facebook back then, so I didn't know where he was. When my first book comes out, I send out invitations to anyone who I knew in high school. And Nick happens to get the invitation. And 10 years later, right before our high school reunion, he shows up at one of my first book signings in Vero Beach. And no one's there. It's like my family's there and nobody's there at those early signings. And he shows up with a pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream.
Whoa.
And I'm like, man, what are you doing now? And he says, guess. And I said, I have no idea. I said, where do you live? He says, Orlando. And I said, wait a minute. I said, you train the dolphins at SeaWorld, don't you? And he says, I do. So he invites me to SeaWorld. This is all true. And Nick still works there. And he had me eventually come when my kids were little. And he puts me in like a special place so I can watch. He's like the dolphin show. And I figure he's going to throw some fish at the dolphins. And all of a sudden, the first dolphin jumps out of the water. And on the nose of the dolphin, as it goes like 50 feet in the air, Nick is standing on the nose of the dolphin. He's not in the show. He is the star of the show. And I start bawling, crying, because I'm watching this kid who had nothing live his dream in front of my eyes. And the greatest part is when Make Magic came out, he was like, you told that story of that woman that told us to screw off. And I was like, So Nick is a huge fan of yours and listens
right
to your
on.
show, and he still works at SeaWorld.
Well,
if you
shout
see
out to Nick.
We need to get Nick in
Yeah,
here.
we'll get Nick in here too. And it would have been
Send me an
funny
email,
if you
Nick.
said like, "Oh man, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Still at the Haagen-Dazs." Right? Like that's what I thought you were gonna say. Like we're very negative here. I'm sorry.
Very different story.
Yeah.
Very different story.
And now no one speaks English, so I can't even understand.
This is rough.
Yeah. I was about to say, Brad. I was like, I knew I liked Brad. He grew up in Miami.
Yeah.
I grew up in Miami. Which, by the way, I did laugh because you dated yourself by saying that someone did talk to you in English at the Aventura Mall.
That's true.
I was like, that doesn't seem right. Brad, last story and this is more of a whimsical tale, not so heavy, like saving multiple lives.
Yeah,
and
this guy's a national treasure. You are a treasure, man.
During Star Wars night in 2015 at the Marlins-Mets baseball game, Meltzer threw out the first pitch of the game and then proceeded to have a lightsaber fight with Billy the Marlin.
Well, listen. So I've thrown out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
Where
Wow.
I was actually that one I was nervous for. 'Cause
That's
right
huge.
before I went on. I literally was pretty calm about it because I can throw. I'm a good pitcher. I can throw it. I'm not worried. But it's still Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
And I was pretty calm. And then my son, they announced my name. They're like, Brad Meltzer, best-selling writer, and come to the mound, and the organ plays, and my son leans over to me and says to me,
I think he hung up on us. I think he was getting a call, and he went to say goodbye, and he hung up on us.
Oh.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I know that's what happened. He'll call back. He'll call back.
I hope
No,
it
no,
sounds
no.
like this isn't that impressive either.
No, we're just gonna stay. We're gonna stay right here.
Okay,
we'll just
all
stay
right,
right here. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Uh,
Everything's fine. That's my favorite guest. That guy's rad.
yeah.
Oh my God, how good is that guy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even joking. There's like 5 other stories. Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right.
This is gonna be fun.
Okay.
This makes it even better. There we go. All right.
oh my God, that was like the greatest. That was the craziest. I don't even know what happened. It just lost. Wait, you want me to?
You're fine.
I can't
You're
believe
fine.
that.
We stayed on.
Okay.
We're good. We're good.
Okay, good. So anyway,
I was like, what if the devil came to go?
right? No, it took me away. So as they announce my name, my son leans over to me and goes, he says, "Don't F it up." And I'm like, I'm like, oh no. So I'm overthinking this. So now I do the Marlins one, and it's Star Wars night. If it's Star Wars night, you think I'm not packing a lightsaber?
Yeah.
So I pull out a lightsaber and I get into a fight with Billy the Marlin. And the best part of that one is it makes Sports Center. And now my kid is, because he's a crazy sports nut, of all the things I've done in my life, making Sports Center was it. And so I got to fight Billy the Marlin with a lightsaber on the mound.
I mean, that's wild, man.
Unbelievable.
That's really, really cool that you get to do stuff like that, though. Especially with the boy.
Well, I will tell you that I did get to take my kids to the set of Star Wars. That was better. Like, because I know the people who do Star Wars, and I took them, and I literally went on the Millennium Falcon, the real one, like when they were filming the new movie. And when my 2 kids, like the 2 boys, jump in the 2 seats, and my youngest says to my oldest, "Hit the hyperdrive, Chewie," and my oldest says, "No, I'm Han Solo, you're Chewie."
Oh yeah.
And they're like, "You're in the wrong seat," and they look at me because I'm the Star Wars guy, and they're like, "Dad, who's right?" Usually, when you see the Falcon, you're seeing it from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
I was looking at it from behind. I'm like, I don't know. I'm so turned around now. And they point to my oldest son. The tour guide says to me, points to him, the guy taking us around. And my son's like, "Hit the hyperdrive, Chewie." And it was crazy. They put us in a room and they said to my kids, "Who's your favorite Jedi?" And they gave him, and my youngest son at the time said Kylo Ren, and my oldest said Darth Vader. And they brought out Kylo Ren's real lightsaber and Darth Vader's real lightsaber. And my youngest lights it up and goes like this. And I said, "Do not break that lightsaber." Like, it was the real one. And the guy says to my kid, "No, that's Adam Driver's real lightsaber. He hits like a mother. Your kid can hit as hard as he wants." And my kids are literally fighting with Darth Vader's and Kylo Ren's real actual lightsabers. It was the craziest day of my life. Like,
that's wild.
And I've told you some crazy stories, but we were in Star Wars.
I
man.
just like
You're
I just,
fighting with the actual lightsabers from the movie?
Yeah, I just like hearing your life takes. Like, I didn't know you were such a big, like sort of a nerd, like into that sort of stuff. And then I was listening to something the other day, and you were talking about how much you liked Thunderbolts and how it actually has a like a mental health message, kind of too.
Listen, you're talking to. I've written Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. I'm sitting in front of a signed lightsaber. And I grew up with it, and the fact that they've asked me to work on those things that's
amazing.
Listen, I love my job, but when I get to write Batman and put words in Batman's mouth, I'm wearing my underpants on the outside of my jeans that day.
Yeah, no,
that's the best day.
Well, you helped save Superman's house. That's another one.
There's too many.
You know what? We're trying to build a statue right now for Superman in Cleveland, Ohio. If you have any interest and you want to make a big donation. I'm not joking. We're trying. You know that Cleveland, Ohio, does not have a statue except in the airport. They have this little one that we help put there. But we want to put a statue downtown by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that you can go up and take pictures with. A true man of steel, made of steel. And there's a nice nonprofit that's working on it right now. And so if you have an interest in it and you want your name on the plaque, just reach out to me through Instagram or any of my social media.
That's
where
cool.
they're. And again, I have no dog in the fight. I'm just trying to help a nice group. They're a really nice charity, and I've been trying to help them raise money to put this statue where it should be.
Awesome,
Well,
man.
Brad, it's been unbelievable talking to you today. I mean,
We hope we get to do it again if you're ever in
Listen,
town.
I said make sure I have your number so we can reach each other, because when the next book comes out, I'll come back. You guys are so much fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
that we would love that, man. And you know what's funny is that, like, I don't think Tom has dipped his toe into some of your history books, but my wife was right. She was
I'm
like,
going to now.
She was putting together a list of books for you that she thinks you will because my wife reads.
Oh, you're gonna like the Nazi conspiracy. You're gonna like the JFK conspiracy, like those. But the first one, I mean, they're crazy real stories that happened.
Yeah, I love it.
I feel like, speaking of Superman, Brad is like Bizarro Tom. We're both from Miami, and I have a bunch of stories that are not meaningful at all. But they're bizarre.
Yeah.
But everyone's like, nah,
Kind of like Unbreakable, like Mr. Glass vibe.
I jumped Gravedigger in a bear suit.
Jumping Gravedigger in the bass is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
don't undersell that, man.
Yeah.
That's quality stuff
Well,
right there.
It's no reading to George Bush on his deathbed and saving 2 lives, including his high school teacher.
Yeah. Including your inspirations.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even get to entertaining Barbara Bush at her 90th birthday party. There's a million. We'll definitely have you back on. But if you want to meet Brad, he's going to be at the Book Fest at the Orange County Library.
Yes,
so
sir.
that's May 17th. And that's why Brad is talking to us today, and ocls.org.
Yes, sir.
And,
hey, thank you again, man. We can't thank you enough. We appreciate your time.
Appreciate you guys. Can't wait.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Brad.
See you, man. That was pretty unbelievable, right?
That was awesome.
It's funny when you talk to somebody that you get the vibe that they truly enjoy living their life. You know what I mean? Like, I get the vibe from him, and I don't... Look, so much of what we do in here is like a humor. It can be rooted in negativity and this, that, and the other thing. But like people like that, when I just watch them exist, they do make me feel like I'm like, there's a man that enjoys his life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, this guy he's being a good human. He's saving people's lives. He's connecting the dots for charities. He's finding flags that are missing. He's finding kidneys. He finds flags in kidneys. You know what I mean?
Some people just end up
He's got good
living
energy.
this life that, it must be a combination. I mean, sometimes it's luck too, and like right place, right time, but also the energy you put off, what you do.
No. His can't be coincidence at this point. He's put off so much good energy that it's coming back.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
The problem with that statement is there's someone's like, I've been really good. And no
God
one
doesn't
knows
like
it.
you. God doesn't like you. Sorry, you're
Well,
not
God
an
loves
angel.
Brad.
Not an angel.
Also, I do think this kind of plays into it.
God, I hate that you're right about that too.
Yeah. Well, because
That's
you can't
the sad
say
part. That's the sad part.
There's plenty of good people that do good, then bad things happen. But another thing that I think plays into it, and this kind of happened with Ross Tucker, where a friend of Ross Tucker told Ross, like, oh, I listen to Tom, and then so
we have a lot of that.
Friends
of famous people like us, but famous people don't like us. But friends of normos, normos that know super famous people.
So,
like, remember when it was said that Dave Matthews loves our show? from like a friend of Dave Matthews told Dave Matthews that he loves our show. Not Dave Matthews. Dave Matthews doesn't love our show.
Yeah, friends of famous people.
Friends of famous people love our show.
So a friend of Brad is like, oh, I love Tom and Dan. And so then I feel like psychologically that Brad, because he knows his friend's going to listen, is like, I'm going to give it 100%. You know what I'm saying? Like, and normally like, I'm going to tell him a good story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's more in.
Yeah. Like, because if I think about it, if you're, this guy has lived an unbelievable life and has done a lot of interviews.
He's not even that old.
No, he's not.
My age.
But he, in other interviews, he may be like, well, whatever. Because I think that is true, where if you think to yourself, I've never heard of this show, and I don't know anybody who listens to it, so it's kind of like you give it some people give it a solid 80, but
you don't think he was
Tom
lying?
Van, I give it a 42.
You don't think he was lying a little bit when he was like, yeah, I love you guys, or like, I've seen it all.
No, his buddy, he's like, my friend told me. No, that's it. He wouldn't say that, because that's something weird to say unless it was true. And then he mentioned
it's like
his
what
name.
I said to our next door neighbor. Remember, we have a med spa next door to our show, and I walked outside and I met the med spa lady, and I was like, oh, hi. And I was like, oh, I've heard really good things about you, which is a lie. And then she goes, what have you heard? I go, this, that, and the other thing.
I guess we could find out if the dolphin trainer really exists, but there's not that many dolphin trainers.
He said his name, he doxed him. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And,
well, there's not much animal activity over there anymore, right?
No,
This
they
guy
still got him.
This guy might be puppeting. Like he might have his hand in Kermit the Frog or something.
If you're his friend, send us an email so we know you're
he's not a goddamn liar.
Yeah. But Brad was cool, and if you want to meet him and talk to him, you could meet him at the library on May 17th.
That book festival is going to be something special. There's a lot of great stuff. You're going to have to go to the website to actually check it out, and I do think you need to register to be a part of it. So again, you're definitely going to want to go there and check that out. Should we get out of here?
Yep. We will see you on Monday.
All right. Oh my God. Great. Oh, that was a rough. That front until right now. Whew, that was a rough one.
Yeah, it was all good. But sometimes I think it's better with high stress and
if we
walking the tightrope.
No. The only reason I don't like it. Is the computer part, because I always wonder. I'm like, oh my God, if this thing fucking craps out, we're dead in the water.
Yeah.
Because I have no time to fix anything. I have no time to get us back online. All right. Well, guys, I guess that's it, right?
Yep, that's it for today.
We hope you guys enjoyed that. Tomorrow, we will have, I believe we're doing Ted Nugent, Brad Meltzer together. Right? Ted and Brad? We're doing Ted and Brad?
Yeah. So what's going on?
The topic will
and
be...
Vulva.
The topic will be... And Vulva.
Yeah.
Vulva
Ted's not going to like that.
You know how hard it... Okay, let's talk about Vulva. Vulva was a hard one,
well,
because
we weren't prepared.
she gave us a bomb. At the very beginning, as she came back out, just when she knew things were more difficult, she looked at Tom and said, just so you know, and hopefully this won't be a time bomb, but I use they pronouns. And I'm like, I'm like, oh no, that's going to be so hard to remember.
Yeah. Well, then it's in my head the whole time. I'm like, don't mention. Yeah. And then I'm like, vulva! Just say vulva. That's what but it's just like, don't be awkward.
I'm like, use guys. Oh, I did it. Can I say use guys?
I did say use guys.
You gave him the what do you give the
use guys.
You did the what is that? My cousin Vinny.
I'm like, oh God, I can't. I'm so stupid.
My cousin Vulva. Hey, use guys.